itself change in their perspective. The idea is like this. In the presence of a gravitational force, the larger gravitational force in which you're present, the slower time passes.
Gravity is simulated in an accelerated state.
So right. So as you go into a black hole, yeah, time slows to zero.
What's an atomic clock on your life?
Atomic clock is these molecules that have a certain half-life, and that's a pretty regular half-life. They don't know when a particular photon will shoot out from this molecule. They know that in the course of an hour, this many do. They don't know which one does, but they know that this many do, and that's regular, and that's constant, and it's almost independent of any physical circumstance in which the molecule is placed. An atomic clock is basically counts the number of molecules that go by that are exuded in a certain time period, or once a certain number have been exuded, then you know a second has passed. They're the most accurate clock equations we have, even better than a psycho. Okay, great. So, what happens over here is that at the cusp of that universe expanding, so according to Dr. Schroeder, so 7 days would have passed in that moving frame of reference, because it's at near the speed of light. At the same time, quote unquote, as 15 billion pass at the core of the universe of the black hole itself. Not in the black hole, but in a spot where space is not moving. So 15 billion years pass in a frame of reference which is not moving, and 7 days pass in a frame of reference which is moving at near the speed of light. They're the same thing. There's no contradiction. It's two frames of reference.
So if you're standing at the center of the universe looking out, it would appear to be whatever.
15 billion years. But if you're in the perspective of expanding space, 7 days. And they're both right. This is how it goes for you.
No, it wouldn't make sense. Because if you're looking back towards the center of the universe, that should be 15 billion years.
Well, they're all moving along each other, but one is moving.
Why would you say that one's 7 days though? If you're leaving and you're looking back to the ground you've traveled.
I'm not looking back. I'm looking where I am.
Oh, okay.
Where I am. I can look all the ways I want, but I'm here.
Okay.
This time, this space, time passes slower.
Okay.
So you want to not age, be an astronaut, and stay up there forever, and go fast. And you won't age. But, not too many people talk to up there. Okay, yeah?
If this is like an immutable fact, then why is it not accepted by the greater, secular scientific community? Why do they insist?
They're moving along. The world's top atheist recently has converted to believing in God because of this argument.
But you said one, but like by and large.
By talking with Dr. Schroeder.
Right, but what I mean is by and large the scientific community doesn't accept the fact that this year 5768.
Agreed.
So why is that? I mean, if they're so learned, and as
I think you have to ask them.
As well, why is there a disagreement if this is?
My experience has been the following: is that when you sit down and talk to someone and you can get a conversation, I haven't had anyone say, you're wrong. You'll have people say, I find it hard to believe. They'll say what you just said. Why does other people believe this? So I'm not asking other people. I'm asking you. You're thinking right now, using your own brain, which is all you can ever use. You want to be like, I'm a ping pong ball in a river, and wherever the river goes, I go. I'm just a non-entity. There's ample opportunity through life to do that. But the Jewish people have never been that. Never been that. Jewish people have always been the cat with 17 lives. The people that should never existed. The one that says no, and everyone else says yes. Adam ha-ivri. Ivri means Hebrew, right? Ivri? No, it doesn't mean Hebrew. It means, Ivri does not mean neat Semitic language from the Middle East. Ivri means avar, from over, on the other side. Meaning that Abraham, ha-ivri, was who? He was the guy that when a whole world was on one side of the river, he was on the other side of the river, disagreeing.
One man against the world.
One man against the world. Ivri, Hebrew, means of intellectual strength and courage to stand upon your own perspectives and not be so concerned about others' own thought. And quite frankly, we have a good track record. We're still, I mean, the idea that we're still even in discussion with science after 2,100 years of the secular clock is extraordinary. We're still in the ring. That we have this, in fact, we're in the 1900s. We're waiting for science to catch up to the perspective that we had. They were still steady state. 1800s, you're talking to a rabbi. He says, no, the whole universe was like a grain of mustard. One spot. There's no matter. Secular philosopher, scientists from University of Berlin. Oh, you silly fools, you Jewish peoples. The earth always has been, always was. Look at my great book I just published. Okay, fine. We'll hang tight, sit it out. You will pass as well. We'll remain. And we'll be here at the end of the day. And our attraction's pretty good. So, I mean, you have to ask each person individually. I've had a lot of discussions. I did a seminar in Los Angeles, and there was a nuclear physicist. So I'm going the whole thing. I'm doing this. I'm moving I'm jumping up and down. And he said, at the end of the lecture, he said, he came with his daughter. And in the lecture, he said, I just want to tell you that I'm a nuclear physicist and I teach at the university. I thought to myself, oh no! He said, and I really am very impressed. I think that's really fascinating. And I think you're right. And he didn't like he wasn't having a point, but he was happy. Ask him. I find it very interesting. I find that most people, when you do ask them, they'll respond the following way. They don't want to hear. I think there's a way in which Torah and science makes sense. You want to sit down for a couple hours? I don't think so. I'm not really interested in that kind of thing. Well, it's, whether God, the universe, or not, it's a big question. And you start sniffing at student number 3. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Do I have to tell you I don't want to know? I don't want to know. I got a book I just read. It's really fascinating. You recommend Harry Potter to people, and they'll read in a second, right? The Kite Runner, they'll go read that in a second. Recommend a book like this. I don't have time. I'm not busy. Got this project at work, but thank you. Try. You have to see for yourself. Okay, guys. Let's do the revolution stuff.
Is it Orthodox?
He's an Orthodox type guy, yeah.